Today we shall see the last topic of this particular unit, I mean the unit based on the superconductivity, okay, and that is applications of superconductors. Applications of superconductors. Okay, so we have seen many things about superconductors. Okay, superconductors are the materials for which the resistance of such a material is zero, and this particular thing will happen when the temperature of the superconductor reaches the transition temperature or the critical temperature. Okay, and we have seen the BCS theory of superconductor also, that how this superconductivity is originating within the materials, that in the superconducting state, when the temperature is very less than that of the critical temperature or the transition temperature, at that particular temperature the electron behave as a Cooper pair. Okay, the electron means the interaction between the electron and the lattice phonons is such that they form the attractive pair of the electrons, which is called as a Cooper pair, and electron exists in the form of Cooper pair in the superconducting state, and they travel through the material, and therefore we get zero scattering, and therefore we get the zero resistance. Okay, so the resistance of the material becomes zero whenever the temperature becomes less than the critical temperature and whenever there is the existence of the Cooper pair. Okay, now one of the application we had already discussed while discussing the different phenomena in the superconductors, and that is the use of superconductor in MRI. Use of the superconductors in MRI. Okay, so what is meant by MRI? MRI means magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, this is a one kind of medical device in which which is used to which is used to produce the photographic image of the tumor in the brain, okay, or any abnormalities within the body. Okay, this is a non-intrusive technique, right? We don't have to introduce anything within the body, and we have to just put the human body inside that particular chamber, and we have to scan that particular human body. Okay, whatever image we will get, that image or that photography is a two-dimensional photography. This image is two-dimensional image. Okay, and by observing this image, particular disease can be found out, right? So these particular superconductors are having great application in this MRI device. Okay, why this is used? Because in the MRI device we require huge magnetic field. Okay, because its name is only the magnetic resonance imaging. So this imaging technique is based on the magnetic resonance phenomena. For that we have to produce a huge magnetic field of the order of some 24.5 Tesla. Okay, now this huge magnetic field can be produced by the electromagnets also, but if we use the electromagnets for producing such a high magnetic field, then what we have to use? We have to obtain the loops of the electrical wires, and through these loops we have to send a huge current. If we want to produce a huge magnetic field, we need to send a huge amount of current, and in order to send huge amount of current, there is a huge requirement of power. We require a large amount of power to be sent through these loops so that a huge magnetic field will be produced. Okay, so this is the one criteria, that we need to have a large amount of power that will cost us heavily, right? This is one thing. Another thing is that if you use the normal conducting material through which we are sending very high amount of current, the normal conducting material would have some kind of resistance. Okay, and because of that, if a material is having a resistance, it will try to oppose the flow of current, and in opposing the flow of current it will generate the heat. And this heat is called as a Joule's heat, okay, or Joule's heating process. Now in order to avoid this particular heat, we need to again cool this particular device. Okay, so the cooling mechanism is required anyway. Okay, so there is a requirement of huge power, and there is a requirement of dissipating the heat generated by the flow of current. Okay, and again in order to do this we require huge amount of money. But if you use the superconductors to generate the high magnetic field, we can use the high temperature superconductors or the type 2 superconductors. Okay, so if this particular material is a superconducting, then in order to generate a huge magnetic field, what we need to do, we need to send a current. Okay, we need to send a fixed amount of current, and this amount of current we have to send, this should be for very small amount of time. Okay, because once we send a current, it will continue to flow, without any resistance, because there is no resistance at all. Okay, so there will not be heat. Okay, and since we have to send this current for very small amount of time, we have to use very less power. So instead of the copper material, or instead of the normal conductors, if you use the superconductors, then what advantages we are having? We require very less power. Okay, and we don't have to worry about the heat. And what cost we have to put? We have to put the cost for maintaining the low temperatures only. And I have already told you that there are some superconducting materials which can act as a superconductors at comfortably high temperatures. Okay, not that much temperature we are requiring, for example 4.2 Kelvin, etc. We can easily obtain this particular temperature also if you use the liquid helium, which is used in so many devices. So if you use the chamber of liquid helium, then automatically this much temperature can also be obtained, and our superconductors can work on this particular temperature also, right? So we have to bear the cost of keeping temperature low only. We don't have to worry we don't have to worry about other things. We have to worry only about the temperature, right? So for maintaining such a low temperature, we don't require huge amount of money, right? But for sending so many large amount of power, and for dissipating the heat, we may require large amount of money. Okay, so this particular use of superconductors in MRI devices makes us this particular use of superconductors in MRI devices gives us advantages about saving lot of money, right? So this is one of the applications, a famous application of the superconductors. Another application of superconductor is in the devices which is called as SQUID, SQUID. Okay, what is the full form of this SQUID? This is superconducting quantum interference. Superconducting quantum interference device. Superconducting quantum interference device. Now what is the use of this particular device? So this particular device is acting as a sensor, one type of sensor. Okay, and it will sense to what? So it will sense to weak magnetic fields. It will sense the weak magnetic field. Now how much weak magnetic field? So actually, if you want to study the minute phenomena if you want to study the minute phenomena related with the heart and related with the brain, so you will be surprised to know that our heart also generate the magnetic field. Similarly, our brains also generate the magnetic field. How much magnetic field? So the magnetic field generated by the heart is of the order of some 10⁻⁻10 Tesla. Okay, the activities which are taking place inside the heart, that activity would generate the magnetic field, and its magnitude would be of the order of some 10⁻10 Tesla. And if certain activities are there in the brain, then brain will also generate the magnetic field, and its magnitude would be 10⁻13 Tesla. Okay, now if you compare this particular magnetic field with the magnetic field of Earth, then you should know that the Earth is having a magnetic field of the order of 10⁻4 Tesla. 10⁻4 Tesla. So as compared to the Earth, you can easily understand that the magnetic fields produced by the heart and magnetic fields produced by the brain, the magnitudes of these are very low, right? So in order to sense such a magnetic field, we can build a device which is called as a SQUID. Okay, this particular device can sense such a weak magnetic field. This particular device can sense such a weak magnetic field, and by analyzing this magnetic field, we can understand the proper working of heart and the brain. okay, and if there is some irregularity, then we can identify that particular thing, right? So superconducting materials are also used in these particular devices, SQUID. Okay, now third application of superconductors. Superconductors are heavily used by scientific communities for research purposes. Okay, now if you see the high energy physics, okay, if you see the high energy particles in particle accelerators, we normally accelerate the small particles like protons, electrons, etc. Okay, and we obtain very high amount of energy. Now in order to obtain such a high amount of energy, to collide them, we need to confine this particle within very small area, okay, or within very small volume. Now the confinement of the charged particle is not very easy. We need either electrostatic lensing or magnetic lensing. So the magnetic lensing can be produced with the help of superconducting magnets, okay, and that particular device can be used to confine the charged particles within very small area or the volume, so that they should collide with each other and high energy physics could be studied. So such a devices are largely used by the scientific communities and industrial communities. Okay, so this is one of the application of the superconductors. Then there is another application of superconductors in, again, taking place in the nuclear fusion reactions. Nuclear fusion, we know that in the nuclear fusion, what is taking place actually? Two smaller nuclei are bombarded towards each other. Okay, they are fused towards each other, they are fused together, so that one bigger nuclei is obtained, and whatever mass defect is there, whatever mass difference is there, that mass is converted into the energy, and we get huge amount of energy that can be used for the peaceful purposes. Okay, so if you want to obtain this nuclear fusion reaction, again this nuclei of deuterium, okay, tritium, etc., these nuclei we have to use, and these nuclei are again, they have to collide with each other within very small volume or within very small area. Okay, now again we need to confine these particular particles within very small volume or area, and this confinement of the particle takes place with the help of magnetic lensing only, right? So the magnetic lensing, if you want to use for such a confinement, we need to again use the superconducting magnets. So with the help of superconductors, we can bring or we can build the magnets, and that particular magnet we can use for obtaining the magnetic lensing, so that these ions can be confined to within very small area or within very small volume. Okay, now again, one of the application of superconductors, actually there are so many applications, but I am explaining very few. So another application of superconductor takes place in levitating trains. Levitating trains means what? One type of floating trains. Okay, now these floating trains are also being built by many countries. Okay, what happens in these levitating trains? Actually, for train, what we need to have? We need to have the wheels of the trains. Okay, this is suppose one of the bogie of the train, and we need to have the tracks. Normally these tracks, which are permanently situated on the land, okay, these tracks are made with the help of permanent magnet or electromagnets. Okay, these tracks are made with the help of permanent magnet or the electromagnet, and these wheels are made with the superconducting materials. These wheels are made with the help of superconducting materials. Now what will happen if I want to accelerate this train, if I want to move this train on this track? What I will do, suppose that this is a permanent magnet, so therefore there will be some kind of polarity. So suppose this track is at the upper end of the track is on the north pole. Similarly, on the another track also the upper end indicates the north pole. Okay, what I will do, I will adjust the magnetic field in such a way that this wheel, the lower portion of this wheel, will produce the north pole. will produce the north pole. Similarly over here also there will be the north pole on the upper portion of the track and there will be the north pole on the downward portion of the wheel. What will happen? We know that like poles repel each other, so these wheels will move in the upward direction. Okay, it will exactly float, on this traction, it will exactly float on these tracks, right? And if you give some force in the horizontal direction, in the forward direction, then what will happen? This train will actually float, on these particular tracks. Okay, so such a trains are called as a levitating trains. Now if I want to apply the brakes, then what I will do? I will change the polarity. The lower portion of the wheel which was acting as a north pole, if I want to apply the brake, I will change the polarity, I will change the direction of the flow of current so that this lower portion will become south pole. Okay, and there will be the force of attraction between the north pole and the south pole. So the wheel and the track will join together, and because of the friction there will be the brake application. Okay, the brakes will automatically be applied. So in this way we can build the levitating trains. You can have some toys and all that in which this particular principle is very fairly explained. Okay, so this is all about the applications, fewer applications of the superconducting material. So in this way the 50% portion of this particular unit, that is based on the superconductors, is over. Okay, from the next session we shall start the another portion of this unit, that is nanotechnology. Okay, thank you.